listening to the Non-Del Influencers Podcast, brought to you by FirstFunding. Join host Matt Coles as he delivers powerful conversations to help non-delegated lenders succeed and scale in today's market.
Well, welcome back to the latest episode of the Non-Del Influencer Podcast. Hitting this one close to home, my dear colleague Chase, National Account Executive with FirstFunding USA. Say hello to everybody, Chase. Appreciate your time here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, so we're right at the beginning of the second half of 2026. We're in the midst of the World Cup. We're going to come back to your soccer career in a little bit as we get through this conversation. But you've been with FirstFunding now for what, 3 months now? Has it been 3 months already?
Yeah, about 4 months,
yeah,
give or take. So yeah, it's been awesome.
And you've hit the ground running, and you are learning the language of the non-delegated. I'm going to hit you with a hard question first, which is, what is the most common conversation that you're having these days about that broker to banker conversion?
Yeah, a lot of it's just the change. You know, that first initial phone call with someone who's brokering that's looking to get into the banker space.
Yeah.
You know, it's the change is always scary, you know, and so that's that first conversation is, you know, how am I going to do this? You know, ordering my own wires. How am I going to, you know, just draft everything that needs to be drafted, all, you know, those worries and stuff like that. So that's the first initial conversation that
you're tackling a lot of fear and trepidation because you're changing someone's business model. And I know you're kind of working closely with one of our most senior account executives, Nick Krakowski. Take me through what that coaching looks like and how you're able to address that.
Yeah, no, Nick's been awesome. He's been a great mentor and someone that I can lean on in any ways. And obviously he's been doing it for many years. I think he just actually hit 10 years with FirstFunding. So yeah, just being able to learn everything from him, his guidance has been amazing. And so, you know, circling back to that question on how I'm able to tackle that, it's just giving them the confidence. I think is giving those lenders the confidence that they are able to make this move, and tell them the positives that can come from it as well. You know, the flexibility in your pricing, the ability to recruit, and many more things. So that's kind of Nick's giving me that guidance and showing me how I can take them from this step to this step. You know, just lender by lender.
And you didn't come into the industry completely blind, right? I mean, you were very successful early in your career selling houses. And so I know you know a little bit about the mortgage side of things. You want to talk a little bit about how you've seen how some of that plays into your conversations today about your previous career that you were going towards?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's, you know, coming into mortgage, obviously is very new to me. But in the end of the day, I was in real estate, and at some point, everything comes together at one point. So I was selling new homes for a home builder here in the Dallas area, and that background just laid that foundation. And it's been a great talking point as well, because I'm able to see the mortgage side, kind of the back end of that transaction of actually purchasing the house, but I'm also able to kind of walk them through what it's like in my shoes. Not necessarily a realtor per se, but having interactions with realtors and then the loan officers there, I can kind of give them an idea of how this is beneficial on their end as well, to be able to compete with maybe some of those new home, you know, those lenders that are working with the new home builders and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like a lot of times, a lot of our small to mid-sized lenders, they struggle with like, hey, I can't get in with these builders. I just can't compete. Their pricing is going to be too good. Their incentives for the home buyer are too good. And I've heard your talk track a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish. Take us into that mindset of how you can try to coach to that.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said earlier, just being able to compete better in the marketplace. So with your priceability, when you're transitioning, you're able to kind of fluctuate based deal by deal. So if you're working with someone, you know, say on a new build, and you're kind of fighting for that business, you're able to, if you just want to drop a few points here, you're able to do that and market yourselves better to them and give them maybe something that the home builder lender can't do.
Yeah, on the lender side, one of the things that I know you've heard me talk about quite a bit, right, which is the branding opportunity. Yeah. A lot of times realtors don't want to work with brokers for whatever reason. This is a legacy issue that many brokers have had to deal with. for a very long time, and they're like, I only work with direct lenders, right? And the way that the conversation can be had when you do move that from broker to banker is I am a direct lender. I am the one providing the funds. And so we see a lot of marketing opportunity for that. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk to you a little bit about your first entry and kind of why you chose to come to FirstFunding when you were having a successful career, just getting started in the home builder space, and you were, doing great success. I think when I first talked to you, I think you had already sold 3 or 4 homes, maybe even more. Yeah. But what was it about the culture of FirstFunding that made you want to come join on board? And we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no. So I enjoyed my time at the home builder, but I knew I was looking for something maybe a little bit more relationship driven and long-term relationships. So that's kind of the first thing that caught my eye. But my initial conversation with you and then with Nick, I just felt that there was already such a strong team environment and everyone's here together. I think, every day we're walking into the office and just having a good time. We're getting our work done, but also prioritizing the business needs and going on from there. So it's been awesome. I think the environment, I have a really good buddy who works with us as well. So that was awesome to be able to come in and have some friendships in the office.
When I stopped by your desk this morning, we actually just talked about a lender. We're not going to name the name, but a lender who literally we just got, I think it was maybe your first application. And so when you talk about relationship, you took this lender from application to getting their first loan going, I think in May. And then I think we saw, 6x growth in June. Yeah. That's the relationship that you're starting to build, right? That's really probably one of your first relationships that you've had, and you probably coached them along the way with regards to that. That's what makes FirstFunding a little bit unique.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I mean, when we were getting this lender in, their application, they stated that they did 2 to 3 loans a month, right. And we hit the ground running. We got them trained up in our system. And like you said, they've already done, 6 loans this month, which is incredible growth. And I think that's proof in the pudding right there. He little intimidated to make that switch over and change. Obviously, like we spoke about earlier, change was the biggest thing. But now that he's rolling with it and he understands the process and how he can shift points wherever he needs to in those transactions, he's just going to keep going up from here.
Yeah. Take me through your role as an account executive when you are bringing somebody in. So you're obviously, from the process of getting the application going, getting them presented to credit committee, and then getting their first wire order training. Can you kind of just take everyone through kind of those 3 steps about what you're responsible for and how you try to help manage expectations with the lenders?
Yeah. So originally, either we get an inquiry or a referral from one of our partners. We'll take them in. We'll have a good conversation with them. I think it's important for all of us AEs here to break down what their needs are, what their projected growth looks like, and just their story. Story behind where they're coming, whether it's a brand new entity or whether they're branching off or whether they're just looking to get into that non-Dell space. I think that's kind of the first step with that application process. And we keep it realistic as well with the timelines. We meet every 2 weeks with our credit committee to get new lenders approved. And so we're just keeping them on it that whole time, letting them know expectations, kind of still nurturing that relationship along the way. I think that's really important because a lot of times I think it's really easy if they're already done and we're just waiting to get them approved. We kind of stop the communication with them. I think it's very important in that step to keep the communication up, let them know we're here for them if they need anything, to kind of keep them all in. And then, once we're ready and they're finally approved and that first line activation is just ready to get going, then we'll go through a training with them, in-depth training. Our Fuel platform is awesome and so user-friendly. And I think the people, when we first talk about the platform to them when they're first applying with us, they're like, oh, is it going to be difficult? All this, so many questions. It's just unknown. But when they actually have the chance to walk through the platform, it's a really easy, user-friendly, like I was saying, platform from them, and they just go and take it from there.
Yeah, that broker to banker fear and trepidation is, I don't know how to order a wire. I don't know what it looks like. This is all new to me.
Yeah.
And then your first wire activation training probably takes 30, 35 minutes just to make sure that everything goes smooth and you're answering all their questions. I know you have a kind of a script that you kind of run through. Realistically, how many times do you have to walk somebody through a wire order training before they get it? Is it one advance, or is it 10 advances? Where do you think that break is?
Yeah, I think for a lot of those lenders, it's 1 to 2 advances, and then after that, they'll do it on their own, and they might have little questions here or there. Everything's a little different. You might have certain credits here which you don't have on another CD,
Right.
vice versa. So it's
You
just
might have
little.
like a temporary buy down that you didn't
Yep.
experience in your first one, or a seller credit or a lender credit. Well, exactly right. So there's little nuances that pop up every once in a while for
Yeah.
sure.
But other than that, I think, once they get it, they really get the hang of it, and it's maybe a call every month or so. Like we were speaking on that lender earlier, we went through a couple trainings with them, and then we have not heard from them once. They are just killing it. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
understand the process after their first 2 or 3, and
So one of the other biggest fears, and you got fresh eyes on this, right, is what happens when something goes wrong on a non-delegated transaction. That's the risk, right? They're always worried about risk. And I love what you said, that first funding salespeople. There's two things about first funding that I know is part of our sales culture. One is we're not going to pressure you to get a non-delegated line if it's not the right fit for you or your company, right? It's not for us to make your decision about how you want to run your business. Second thing is that we're going to be realistic about risk. And on a non-delegated side, I can't think of anything that's bubbled up for you in your first 120 days. But what's been some of the things that have come up on your radar so far?
yeah, I think,
I know we've had a couple of aged advances, and
right.
you want to walk them through what do you look at with regards to an aged advance? When does the phone start to ring for you?
Yeah, I mean, once we're getting to that, 20-day mark, we need to really figure out what's going on with
Right.
that. Whether it's something wrong, I've seen a couple times, it's just as simple as a name's wrong on a Bailey letter.
Right.
Other times, it's the note being shipped to the wrong place.
Got it.
So it's just those little nicks that sometimes throw off the whole process, and that's some of the things that need to be kind of tightened up. But other than that, it's really
Yeah, in the non-delegated space, I mean, most investors are purchasing loans within 5 to 7 days of the advance. So when it starts getting to that 14 to 20, it's kind of like, hey, what's going on with this one? Especially with the top investors that are out there. We know that they purchase quickly. All it is we're just placing a phone call. And I know that you and I have worked on a couple of those aged advances before, and it literally was, there was one last condition that popped up on the insurance, or there was a misspelling in the name, the borrower had to re-sign, whatever it might be. Nothing that can't be fixed. And I mean, you see the numbers. First Funding closes thousands and thousands of non-del transactions on a monthly basis, and I would say that we probably have to roll up our sleeves and figure out what's going on 2 to 3 a month.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's pretty incredible to see the numbers that I've walked into. I mean, just when I first started here, we had our first company meeting, and the growth of 200+% in a year.
Yeah,
that's just fantastic. And to be a part of that now and seeing it and not having too many issues, honestly, with how many loans are coming through our system is pretty incredible.
I want to talk a little bit because you've been on the road, I think, twice now, if I'm not mistaken. For someone who's newer to the industry, what were some of your key takeaways, and what was your action plan when you got back to the office with the people that you met? I think that's one of the biggest misses for younger people in their career, which is they go out on the road and they go to trade shows, wherever they might be, and there's really no follow-up plan. And I know Nick holds you to task for follow-up. So talk to me a little bit about what your outlook is on that.
Yeah, no, the trips that I've been on have been great, and obviously it's a little overwhelming at the start. Obviously very fresh to the industry and meeting all these new individuals, but it's been fantastic as well, and that's one of the biggest thing. And I love that Nick keeps me accountable for, making sure I follow up with that. So that's the main thing, going in there, learning the industry, meeting all the professionals, the right people that I need to meet, because we have some great partners like up in Michigan.
Yeah.
We have some great partners up there, and just to really bond with them and connect with them, and so they can send me referrals, I can send them referrals. It's just kind of a great partnership there. So that's one of the really key takeaways that I've had, from these trips already.
Yeah, and then it's sometimes a quick sell, and I know sometimes it's a longer sell, right? So you've seen it both ways, which is you probably have people that you talk to your first 2 weeks here, that still haven't even sent in their application, and it's not because you're not following up, but sometimes it does take 6 to 8 phone calls.
Yep.
To nail the question that they might have, right? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of salespeople miss out on is you're so used to dumping out verbally about all the great things that your company can do for this person that's on the other side of the line. But I know, and I listen to your phone calls, that you're asking a ton of questions like, hey, is there anything that we talked about last time that didn't get answered? Is there any more questions that popped up? What's the latest objection that you might have? Yeah. All those things that you're doing a great job of asking and making sure to follow up on.
Yeah,
I want to ask you one thing. This summer we have an intern in the office, and I know you're sitting behind him. Talk to me a little bit about how you leverage AI versus how he's leveraging AI in the daily opportunities. What are you seeing as a distinct opportunity for all salespeople?
Yeah, no, I think from the sales perspective, it's really just who to target. I mean, the AI has been amazing in just the workplace. ChatGPT, just being able to throw in a spreadsheet of just my clients, and throwing it in there and seeing who I need to target, especially for like road trips, for say. That's a great tool for us salespeople when we get on the road. Having a trip, be like, hey, can you make me a map of where around Dallas and have it go in a full circle so you can start your day, end your day. Who do I need to see? What clients have had big numbers? Who's the new prospects? Like, give me these statistics, and you can go there. But as far as our intern, dude's a wizard. He's a genius, man. And he's already just built some platforms for us that are making the renewals process easier, and he's throwing in a lot more data points. Just as far as numbers in the company, not necessarily as we are on the sales side with who we need to target as far as like companies, stuff like that.
I just think that everyone, regardless of what your role is in a company today, leveraging the AI tools that are at all of our fingertips at this point it's almost like going back when I first started in this industry, like, oh, I don't want to use the internet. It's like this is the new thing, right? I don't want to use a cell phone, right? It's like I don't want to carry a cell phone. Like you got to make it part of your day. And I know from our sales side, like I'm throwing in data all the day long. You just saw something this morning. I'm like, hey, who had the biggest increase and decrease in our production from May to June? Let's make those phone calls. Let's reward the people and thank the people that had an increase, and let's check in on those that had a decrease.
Yeah.
And then from a next level, I see our summer intern rebuilding basically policies and procedures with a bunch of governors on it that make it fantastic for what we're trying to accomplish. And just, I can see the path that it's going to make us even more and more effective with what we have to try to accomplish.
Yeah, I think AI it's taking over, and you not necessarily taking over, but you have to use it. You have to stay up to date with it. And both of the conferences that I've been to as well have harped on it, how you need to use AI or else you're going to fall behind, because everyone's going to start using it. Spoke with a lender today, they're going to start they built a whole AI system to basically start all of their prospects. Everything that comes in, it's an AI speaker that talks to them. So when they get on the phone, it's a qualified prospect, and they're not just cold calling. Like that's just the industry and the new norm.
Yeah, and it's as being relatively fresh, you're seeing a lot of repeatable activities that you have to do, and if you could save time and be more effective with the use of your time by building out prompts and everything like that, they can just do that for you.
Yep.
Your efficiency will go up, which will increase your productivity, which will increase your paycheck, right? That's ultimately what the goal is.
Right. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, where you went to school. And I know you're an avid soccer fan and a soccer player. So talk to me a little bit about that and how that led to your growth and mindset as an athlete for your business purpose today.
Yeah. So I grew up playing soccer from a young age and ended up going to the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor down in Belton, Texas. Played soccer there, had the opportunity to do really well with the team and, win a couple championships in the conference. And soccer was amazing for my career now, looking back at it, and just the diligence you have to have. You have to show up every single day, the no quitting mindset, always wanting to win. I knew I wanted to get in sales. Kind of, I think sophomore year was when I really was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I have to work for everything. It's a grind. Nothing's going to come to you. Just that hard work and the teamwork aspect of it as well. In sales, there's a lot of teamwork. So I think just soccer laid that foundation for me. And I still look at it as it's got me where I am today.
But I love, last time we got to spend a little bit of time together outside the office, you said that I think you started off in Division I, right? Or Division II, and then you decided to go to a smaller school based upon your mindset about what you wanted to accomplish. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I loved your thought process of like, hey man, this is not going to be my life. I don't want sports to be everything that I do. I am more well-rounded person, but just to share a little bit about that story.
Yeah. So Division I mean, with any sport in athletics, you are putting so much time into that sport, and it does take away from school. Honestly, it's a very hard balance to have. And it's just, for me, I knew that I wanted a career outside of sports afterwards. And so I wanted a little bit more time to work on my profession, my networking, and all of those kind of ideas. So I made that transition over to D3, where it's shorter travel. So you're not on the road as much. During the spring semester, you're able, like I said, to network a little bit more and have those kind of ideas to go back on. So that was really the main, reason that I wanted to make that switch. And go there. But the levels are crazy. It's not just the talent, it's also the level of travel, the level of time consumption that it has on your day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of kids in high school want to be Division I athletes. And I think you probably realize very quickly that it is a big ask to do. That term student athlete is definitely a challenge for a lot of people, just depending on what you want to do outside of sports. Well, Chase, listen, I can't thank you enough. I think that your growth here in the first half of 2026 has been phenomenal. You've hit the ground running, and we look forward to continuing to see your growth opportunity and trajectory. I know you're going to be hitting the road quite a bit, and we'll be announcing where we'll be next, but I'm sure you'll be joining us for some of the bigger events like NAM National coming up in October, and we'll get a chance to get you out in front of our new lenders. So thank you for the opportunity, Chase, and look forward to the next episode of Non-Del Influencer Podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks for tuning into the Non-Del Influencers Podcast, powered by FirstFunding. For more resources and episodes, visit nondelinfluencers.com.